Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted with a 21-gun salute in Jeddah. His two-day official Saudi Arabia visit set to strengthen cooperation across multiple sectors. US Vice President J.D. Vance says US-India can accomplish much more together, and President Trump wants both the US and India to grow. Terrorists attack tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam, at least 12 injured. Prime Minister Modi calls Home Minister Amit Shah from Saudi Arabia, asks him to take suitable measures and visit the spot. Hamas delegation heads to Egypt's Cairo to discuss new ideas for Gaza truce. Israel demands Hamas be disarmed, which the group rejects. And gold prices hit all-time highs. In India, the precious yellow metal crosses 100,000 rupees per 10 grams on Tuesday. Globally, gold tops $3,500 an ounce for the first time amid US dollar slide. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday landed in Jeddah on a two-day state visit to Saudi Arabia at the invitation of Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Prime Minister Modi was welcomed with a ceremonial 21-gun salute on his arrival. PM Modi was warmly received by Deputy Governor of Makkah, Prince Saud bin Mishal bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, Saudi's Commerce Minister Majid bin Abdullah Al Kasabi, and Mayor of Jeddah Saleh Ali Al Turki. Earlier, in a special gesture, Royal Saudi Arabia fighter planes escorted Prime Minister Modi's plane as it entered Saudi airspace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, will co-chair the second leaders' meeting of the India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to address the Indian diaspora in Jeddah today. Upon arrival, chants of Modi, Modi resonated as the Indian diaspora welcomed Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his hotel. The Indian community gave a traditional and vibrant welcome to Prime Minister Modi. The song "Ae Watan" resonated as Prime Minister witnessed the performances of the diaspora. In an exclusive interview with Arab News, Prime Minister Modi described the kingdom as a trusted friend and strategic ally, emphasizing how bilateral relations had expanded significantly since the creation of the Strategic Partnership Council in 2019.
Prime Minister Modi praised Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman's leadership, calling him a strong advocate of India-Saudi Arabia bilateral ties and a visionary who has inspired global admiration through the reforms under Vision 2030. Highlighting shared economic ambitions, Prime Minister Modi noted that trade between the two countries had grown even amid global challenges. India and Saudi Arabia are also working on a bilateral investment treaty. Prime Minister welcomed a deeper integration of Saudi and Indian businesses, particularly in emerging sectors like green hydrogen and technology. India is also exploring joint projects in refineries and petrochemicals. Prime Minister Modi congratulated the kingdom for winning the bids to host World Expo 2030 and FIFA World Cup 2034. He was grateful to the Saudi leadership for the continued assistance provided to Indian nationals who visit Saudi Arabia each year for Umrah and Hajj pilgrimage.
During his two-day visit to Saudi Arabia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also visit a dates factory employing Indian workers there. The country is home to roughly 2.7 million Indians. DD India's Amritpal Singh visited the factory in Jeddah and spoke to the workers.
7 million strong Indian diaspora living and working here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has the second highest diaspora anywhere in the world. I'm here right now in Jeddah and outside a factory which Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting on Wednesday when he comes calling on Saudi Arabia on Tuesday and Wednesday for a two-day visit. The Prime Minister shall be coming here and interacting with the workers in this factory. This is the floor of the processing plant or the factory of dates, which this third generation of Indians whose grandfather migrated here started with trading but later went into farming and production and now employs thousands of workers, not just from India but also from the subcontinent and also from Saudi Arabia, working in various capacities. A general perception is that Saudi society is very restrictive. Women do not have the kind of liberties that are seen in other parts of the world. But what we see here belies that. You see these young girls who are Saudi nationals working in this plant owned by Indian entrepreneurs. In fact, I have with me Lama Hafza, who's herself a Saudi national. She's the marketing manager here. Are the gender roles changing in Saudi Arabia when you started or when you were growing up?
Actually, by government, I'm just going to explain it in a nutshell. Working as a female gives you more points and the government itself. So all the companies are now directing towards like having more females.
I have with me Salman Vasaiwala. He is an entrepreneur here. You or your family generate employment and actually contribute to the economy of Saudi Arabia, don't you?
Correct, definitely. Yeah. Now, a lot has changed in the past 50 years. We've gone from trading into manufacturing, farming, distribution, and also with the new Vision 2030 coming up, Saudi Arabia has improved and is supporting us a lot.
The Prime Minister is coming here, visiting your factory, interacting with the workers. What sort of confidence does it inspire in the Indian diaspora working here?
No, actually, they're very excited. All the workers, they're honored. You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
हमारा देश का पीएम आएगा अच्छा लगेगा बहुत खुशी की बात है सर हमारा देश का पीएम है गौरव है सर
This sentiment that when the Prime Minister of the country comes and interacts with general factory workers, farm workers, ordinary people living outside their country, it inspires. With cameraman Saurabh Bakshi, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Jeddah.
Now, on to India's north. At least 12 tourists were injured in a terrorist attack in India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam on Tuesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with Home Minister Amit Shah on the Pahalgam terror attack and asked him to take all suitable measures and visit the site. The incident took place in the Baisara Valley, where unidentified gunmen opened fire on a group of tourists visiting the area. The injured were evacuated with the help of locals airlifted by authorities. All have been admitted to Pahalgam Hospital and are stated to be in a stable condition as of now. Taking to social media platform X, Home Minister Amit Shah wrote, "Anguished by the terror attack on tourists in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, my thoughts are with the family members of the deceased. Those involved in this dastardly act of terror will not be spared, and we will come down heavily on the perpetrators with the harshest consequences." He further added that he briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi about the incident and held a meeting with the concerned officials via video conferencing. He further wrote on X that he will shortly leave for Srinagar to hold an urgent security review meeting with all the agencies. Security forces have launched a search operation following reports of gunfire. The incident comes amid a surge in tourist arrivals in Kashmir ahead of the annual Amarnath Yatra beginning July the 3rd. And for some analysis on the story, we're joined by defense expert Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni over the phone line. Sir, this terrorist attack coming after the surge in tourism reported from Jammu and Kashmir. How serious is this terror attack and how should we see this?
Extremely unfortunate. Extremely unfortunate. At a time when Jammu and Kashmir is looking up, people are talking of millions of tourists wanting to visit the valley, development taking place, people pray, everything happening up. When you find Pakistan using their overground workers in India to ensure and sensationalizing it. Just because the Vice President of USA is here, our Prime Ministers in the Middle East, and therefore you find all these kind of things are happening. Pakistan is responsible. Pakistan is trying to use terrorism as an instrument of state policy. This sensationalism of that, they are victims of terror. They are the perpetrators of terror. And that is where I find Pakistan. But we need to be very, very vigilant because the Pahalgam Valley, these unidentified people, because there are lots of, just not the tourists, even these local pony wallahs and everybody around there, I'm sure these chaps can be nabbed. It's not difficult because this kind of a thing shouldn't happen. If they feel that they would do this kind of a thing and keep the tourists away, well, the loss will be theirs. And therefore, it's very important that at no point of time we must bring these chaps who have done this a crime, I would say. That's something which should not have ever happened. But then it's extremely sad, extremely unfortunate, and I hope these all these militants, terrorists, whoever they are nabbed and brought to justice.
Okay, DD India's Shabir Dar also joining us on the story from Jammu and Kashmir. Shabir, give us the latest about the terror strike and the condition of the wounded tourists, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, it is an unfortunate incident. As we know that 10 to 12 tourists were injured in the terrorist attack in Baisaran area of Pahalgam. This Baisaran is a meadow just near to the Pahalgam town where tourists usually go on horses or by foot. So it is a forest area where the tourists go to enjoy their leisure time, and the terrorists came into 3 numbers reportedly in the army fatigue, and they indiscriminately fired on the tourists, the soft target, and we're being told that 10 to 12 tourists were injured. Few among them are very critical. They were initially brought to the local medical facility in Pahalgam, the hospital in Pahalgam, from where the critical were shifted to the government medical college in Anantnag. And the sources in the security apparatus are telling us that at least 1 or 2 tourists have died in the attack. So this is a very, very, very developing story. The entire area has been cordoned by the army, police, and security forces. Choppers are being clustered in to evacuate the critical to the advanced medical facilities in Anantnag or in Srinagar. So appropriate measures are being taken by the administration, be it the security forces. They have cordoned the area to ensure that the terrorists are not able to flee this area. So every effort is being made, and along with that, there is wide range of condemnation is coming in for against this terror attack. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir has condemned it. Chief Minister has condemned it. The people of Kashmir, even the Mirwais, who wants to be separatist, he has condemned this attack, saying that this is against the traditions of Kashmir, because Kashmir has usually, always welcomed the visitors, welcomed the guests. They have always given them space, always provided logistics and other support, and such attacks are against the grain of Kashmir's ethos. So wide condemnation is coming in from across the sections of the society. So, and this is the time actually when Kashmir is witnessing huge number of tourists from the country and abroad. Foreign tourists are here, and Pahalgam is one of the tourist hotspots where a lot of tourists visit. And this time around, there is huge rush. And the attack is also being seen as, the unsuccessful attempt of terrorists to disrupt the peace and normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir.
Indeed, very unfortunate. Thank you very much, Shabir Dar, for all those updates. Let me come back to you, General Kulkarni. Well, the security situation had improved, in fact, has improved considerably in the valley. What will it take to completely root out terrorism in Kashmir?
Very difficult to say when it would get rooted out until and unless the people themselves cooperate. Because imagine an incident happening in Pahalgam, which is flooded with tourists, flooded with locals. Can anyone just run away shooting these people? It's not possible. So therefore, if the civilians themselves nab these chaps and are able to hand over to the police, then the right message goes to everybody that people themselves are involved in eradicating this terrorism from the state of, from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. It's very important. People must play a huge role because the people are beneficiaries of tourism. People are beneficiaries of development. People are beneficiaries of the trade. That is why millions of tourists are going to J&K. It can't be so. It's very important that people themselves must come. These OGW, these overground workers, cannot operate until and unless there's a support over there. The support is coming. Of course, they're locals themselves. So therefore, and people from Pakistan, because Pakistan is responsible. Pakistan themselves are economically shattered, but would still want to take this support of terrorism, sensationalize, tell the whole world that we are not the victims, but they themselves are the perpetrators of terrorism. I think it's very, very important. We need to improve and our own vigilance, and sure enough, the coordinated search operations will ensure that these chaps are nabbed and brought to justice.
Thank you, Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, for joining us on DD India Live. More coming on the terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also took to social media platform X and wrote, deeply anguished by the news of terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. This dastardly attack on innocent civilians is an act of cowardice and highly reprehensible. My thoughts and prayers are with the innocent victims and their families, unquote. More news from India. US Vice President J.D. Vance, who is currently in India on a 4-day visit, arrived in Jaipur on Tuesday for a day-long trip. Vance addressed a gathering in Jaipur and emphasized the growing importance of US-India relationship. He said that US President Donald Trump is committed to fostering closer ties between the two countries with the aim of ensuring mutual growth and prosperity. He said US and India are working together to finalize a trade deal soon based on certain common goals.
Message to their friends, to countries like India, is to tell them that they are not allowed to grow. Well, President Trump rejects these failed ideas. He wants America to grow, he wants India to grow, and he wants to build a future with our partners all over the globe. And this is the world that America seeks to create with you. We want to build a bright new world, one that's constantly innovating, one that's helping people to form families, making it easier to build, invest, and trade together in pursuit of common goals.
On to the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed bilateral talks with Ukraine for the first time since the early days of the conflict. And his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, said Kiev was eager to discuss a halt to attacks on civilian targets. Russia and Ukraine have said that they are open to further ceasefires after a 30-hour Easter truce declared by Moscow at the weekend. Each side accused the other of violating it. Putin said fighting had resumed after the Easter ceasefire, which he announced unilaterally on Saturday. And Moscow was open to any peace initiatives and expected the same from Kiev.
Kiev regime is trying to seize the initiative and talk about expanding the time frame and the targets. But we must think about it carefully, assess everything, and look at the results. If you paid attention, I said from the very beginning, when I met with the Chief of the General Staff, that we would see what the experience of the Easter truce would be like. Overall, still, there has been a reduction in activity. We welcome that, and we are ready to look at future.
While Zelensky did not respond directly to Putin's proposal, he emphasized that Ukraine was ready for any conversation about a ceasefire that would stop strikes on civilians. Zelensky said Ukraine will take part in talks with the US and European nations on Wednesday in London.
Today was almost entirely dedicated to working with partners in various formats. We are preparing meetings for Wednesday with partners from Europe, the UK, France, Germany, and from the United States. These meetings can bring us closer to a ceasefire and a real, lasting peace.
Russian forces on Tuesday announced that they have retaken a monastery in the Kursk region where Ukrainian troops had been holed up. The Russian military said that Ukraine had deployed troops, artillery, drone launchers at the St. Nicholas Belogorodsky monastery, which it said Russia had retaken after 10 days of fierce fighting. In last year, August, Moscow responded by sending heavy reinforcements, including soldiers from its ally North Korea. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Air Force on Tuesday said that Russia launched 54 drones in an overnight attack and it shot down 38 drones. Another 16 drones did not reach their targets, likely due to electronic warfare countermeasures. Now, the United States on Monday announced its intention to impose tariffs of up to 3,521% on solar panels from Southeast Asia. This move is aimed at countering alleged Chinese subsidies and dumping in the sector. The tariffs on companies from Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia and Vietnam will still need to be ratified at a meeting of the International Trade Commission in June. The decision, unveiled on Monday, comes after anti-dumping and countervailing duty investigations filed around a year ago by several US and other solar manufacturers. Those companies took aim at unfair practices that were said to have weighed on the US domestic solar market, particularly raising concern over Chinese headquartered companies operating out of Southeast Asian nations. Gold reached $3,500 an ounce for the first time on Tuesday as US President Donald Trump's tariffs and verbal attack against the Federal Reserve chair sent investors snapping up the safe haven asset. The precious metal reached an all-time high of $3,500 an ounce before pulling back to $3,468. Gold is up more than 30% since the start of the year. In India, the precious yellow metal crossed 100,000 rupees per 10 grams on Tuesday. Gold has hit a series of record highs in recent weeks as investors seek refuge amid a weakening dollar following sharp losses across stock markets. And going back to this story of a dastardly terrorist attack being reported from Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, we are joined by defense expert Rakesh Sharma. Sir, after reporting a surge in tourist arrivals, this terrorist attack now being reported today, very unfortunate. What do you make of the incident?
Thank you for inviting me. Actually, the issue is that this is getting to be a hot tourist season. As we see that there are a large number of tourists arriving in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in the Kashmir region. And the targeting has been very focused, well planned, well thought about. The target has been well selected. There was segregation of Hindus, at least at one voice one heard that Hindu was selected for being, non-local was being selected for being killed. And this is actually having, it gives an indication of what going to happen in the coming months. So basically, there'll be a great loss of tourist season as you see larger number of vehicles getting out of Pahalgam today. And the next lot of people who are wishing to come there would cancel their reservations. The loss will be to the local economy and local population. So let me say to end here that it is well planned and it has been orchestrated from across the borders from Pakistan, where it must have been thought about that this is a time to hit, and they have done this dastardly act.
Could you also explain to us why Pakistan continues to use terrorism as a state-sponsored policy and foment insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir?
So you see, for Pakistan to bind itself, there's an identity issue. Jammu and Kashmir becomes an identity issue for Pakistan as a nation, and especially for the Pakistan Army. The Pakistan Army wants to retain its primacy. They have come under increasing pressure because of what is happening in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa against BLA and the TTP, both of them. So they have to now divert attention. Otherwise, the public was getting agitated against the Pakistan Army not able to do their task in these two major provinces. So the last speech that the Pakistan Army chief gave to the the foreign-based Pakistanis who had come there recently, he clearly hinted at it. He clearly mentioned in that speech, which is now just a badly conceptualized speech, in which he said that we will stand by with Kashmir and we will sort out issues in Balochistan. So there was a kind of ferociousness that he was trying to exhibit. And I think there was a broad hint given to us that there would be attempts made against in Kashmir specifically.
Thank you very much, Rakesh Sharma ji, for joining us on the show. Well, it's a developing story. One hopes that the casualties are limited. At least 12 tourists were injured in a terrorist attack in India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam on Tuesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with Home Minister Amit Shah on the terror attack and asked him to take all suitable measures. Prime Minister also asked the Home Minister to visit the site, which the Home Minister has confirmed on his X handle. The incident took place in Baisara Valley, where unidentified gunmen opened fire on a group of tourists visiting the area. The injured were evacuated with the help of locals and airlifted by authorities. All have been admitted to Pahalgam Hospital and are stated to be stable. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching.